How's it going, YouTube? It's Elliot here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Elliot Reads video, guys. I am going to be doing my April TBR, and I'm going to hopefully read 5 books in the month of April. I've already started one of them, which is the first one I'm going to read. And yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and we're going to see what I'm going to read for the month of April, so let's get into it. Okay guys, I am going to be continuing the Fazbear Frights series. I think there's 12 in total at the moment. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I think I've seen so far there's 12, so I'm going to continue my Fazbear Frights series reading and read 4 more from this series, along with another book that isn't part of the series. And yeah, so let's get into what I'm reading and what Fazbear Frights books I'm reading. So the first one I'm going to be reading for Fazbear Frights is 1:35 AM, which is the 3rd book in the Fazbear Frights series. And this has 3 more short stories which follow Delilah, Stanley and Devon, and each one is a short story about each of them characters and are set in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, and often also include an animatronic to go with it. So the first story in 1:35 is 1:35 AM, and this is about Delilah, who was orphaned from a young age, and she has recently just got divorced, and she keeps having these weird nightmares that keep waking her up at the same time every day, which is 1:35 AM in the morning. She believes that something's after her because she keeps having these weird dreams and hearing weird things in her apartment, so she believes something is after her and trying to mess with her head. She'll have to see what it is that is haunting Delilah and see if she can find a way to stop it from happening. So yeah, that's the first book in the 3rd Fazbear Frights. Second story in this book is Room for One More, and this follows Stanley, who is newly dumped and is stuck in a dead-end job for a mysterious employer. He's unable to connect with anyone. Okay, so this seems like this guy who works maybe at one of the Fazbear locations, and he can't get in contact with them, so he's not able to ask them questions or anything about anything that goes on these nights when he's here. I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm just guessing about it, because if it's relating to the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, I'm guessing it's something to do with something like that. But yeah, really interested to see what happens in these stories. So let's see what the 3rd one has to offer. The 3rd story in the Fazbear Frights Book 3 is The New Kid. And this tells the story of Devon, who was abandoned by his dad and is ignored by his mum. And he can't understand why love and friendship come to everyone easily except for him. It's typical a child with abandonment issues who feels unloved and things, which is really sad. That sounds like a really sad story. I'm excited to see what this book has in store for us, and all these 3 stories sound very interesting. I'm excited to get stuck in and continue reading this book. I've finished 1:35 AM so far, so I'm on to Room for One More, so I'm excited to see where these stories go. So yeah, that's the first book I'm going to read for the month of April. Okay guys, the second book that I'm going to read for the month of April, again, is another Fazbear Frights books, and this is the 4th in the series, called Step Closer. And again, this follows 3 more stories in the Five Nights at Freddy's world, new characters and possibly new animatronics on new locations. So the first story in this book is called Step Closer, which follows a kid called Pete, who lashes out at his younger brother while his parents are going through a divorce. He's obviously lashing out and showing aggressive signs that it's really getting to him. So as soon as he lashes out at his brother, he falls prey to a curse. It's interesting that he gets put in a curse. I wonder what the curse is and what it does to him. I'm excited to see what this story has entailed for it, because I'm very interested to see what this curse is. So yeah, that's the first story in the 4th Fazbear Frights book. The second story in the Fazbear Frights 4th book is Dance With Me. This follows Casey, who is struggling to survive on the streets after stealing a pair of unusual novelty glasses. I wonder if that's going to be like FNAF not security breach, the other one, Ruin. I wonder if it's going to be like Ruin, where she puts on this mask and she's in like a weird AI world. And like, you know, like how Ruin was, where she put on the Vanny mask and she's in this weird AI world. I wonder if it's something like that. It could possibly be something like that. It could probably be connected to Ruin, but who knows? I'm excited to see. So yeah, that's the second story of the Fazbear Frights 4 book. The 3rd story in the Five Nights at Freddy's 4th book is Coming Home. And this follows Samantha and her sister Susie, and they reach out to one another after not talking for a very long time, and they're desperate to connect to each other after a very horrific tragedy has happened in their family, I'm assuming. But that is the 4th book in the Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Fright series, and that is the 2nd book that I'm going to be reading for the month of April. Okay guys, continuing on with the Fazbear Frights series, I'm going to be reading book 5, which is called Bunny Call, and again follows 3 more stories. So the first one in this book is called Bunny Call, and it follows a guy called Bob who has a family, and his family has caused him some frustration over the years, so he's going on vacation with his family, and he plans to perform a sinister prank on his family while they're there to frighten them all to get payback for what they have done to him and all the frustration they've caused him. So yeah, it seems a bit brutal, but we'll have to find out what Bob gets up to and what prank he pulls on his family and how much it's going to traumatise them. So yeah, that's the first story in the Fazbear Frights 5 book. Second story in the Fazbear Frights 5 book is In the Flesh. This story follows Matt, who has had some really bad failed relationships. So he pours all his anger into a video game, but doing this ends up in some horrible consequences for Matt. Not sure what they are, so I'll have to read the story to find out what them consequences are. But sounds really interesting that it's following a video game. I'm excited to see what video game it follows that he's putting this anger into and how it affects him. I'm sure we'll see when I read the book. But that is the 2nd story in the Fazbear Frights 5 book. The final one is The Man in Room 1280. Okay, so this story follows a man who is in the hospital with gruesome burns all over his body, and he's fighting to live because these burns are so bad all over his body. But they believe that something evil is keeping him alive, helping him to survive all these burns and not pass away. And that is the Fazbear Frights 5 book, Bunny Call, and that is the 3rd book I'm going to read for the month of April. The 4th book that I'm going to read for the month of April is the 6th book in the Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Fright series, which is called Blackbird. And the first story is, of course, the name of the book, Blackbird. And this follows Noel. And to avoid confronting ugly truth, Noel falls prey to a monster that punishes past transgressions. Ooh, so he gets punished for being a twat, basically? That sounds interesting. I wonder who the monster is in that story and what they do to punish Noel. Very interesting to see what happens to Noel in this story. The 2nd story in the Fazbear Fright 6 book is The Real Jake. Grown weaker by the day, 9-year-old Jake looks back on the time before he was sick. Imagine life as if he were well again. Oh, that sounds like a sad one. I'm guessing he has like cancer or something. Oh, that's really sad. Oh, my heart. That's gonna hurt to read. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he's very ill and he's looking back in his life and wishing. Imagine what it's gonna be like if he wasn't ill anymore. Oh, that's so sad. Okay, so it's the 2nd story in the Fazbear Fright 6 book. And the 3rd and final story in the Fazbear Fright 6 book is Hide and Seek. And this is about Toby. Forever desperate to prove his worth to his arrogant brother and distant father, Toby chases victory at an arcade game of horrifying consequences. Ooh, that sounds quite interesting. I wonder what happens to Toby with this video game. Does he get sucked into it or something? And I'm interested. All these stories sound really interesting. Even from these little lines, it sounds so interesting. So I'm so excited to carry on reading the Fazbear Fright series because all the stories are really interesting and they're really intense. Like I said in my wrap up that I posted on Tuesday, these are really intense for young adult books. So they do keep you gripped, even though they're like for younger audiences, they do still really keep you gripped. And I'm really interested to see how these stories play out. So yeah, that is the 4th book that I'm going to be reading for the month of April. And yeah, let's get on to the last book that I'm going to read. Okay guys, the last book that I'm going to read for the month of February is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This has been on my TBR for a very long time and it is very popular on BookTok, and it also won the Goodreads Choice Award and it was nominated for Best Mystery and Thriller in 2022. So this is about a housemaid who comes to work for a family called the Winchesters. And the family is a little bit weird. The mother, Nina, is a bit horrible to her. She just makes messes for her to clean up just so she can watch her. She tells lies about members of her family for some strange reason. And the dad is, like, every day she can tell how broken the dad is and how defeated he just looks every day as she's there. And she can just look into his eyes and just see the pain that he's in, just from being married to this person and being in this house. And one day, while she's in her room that they have given her in the house, she comes to discover that the bedroom door that she has only locks from the outside. So she becomes a little bit freaked out and she's like, what the heck is wrong with this family, bro? I have to get out of here. I guess we'll have to see why the family lock her in her bedroom and what other weird things go on in the house while she's there. And if she can escape from this house before it's too late and before something happens to her. So yeah, that is the 5th book I'm going to read, so I'll read the back so you get an idea, because this one actually has a synopsis, so I can read this one. Welcome to the family, Nina Winchester says as I shake her elegant manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like, but I'll soon learn that the Winchester secrets are far more dangerous than my own. Every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom, I collect their daughter from school and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes so full of pain, it's hard not to imagine what it would be like to live Nina's life. The walk-in closet, the fancy car, the perfect husband. I only try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses once just to see what it's like, but she soon finds out, and by the time I realise my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. Ooh, that sounds really, really interesting. I'm so excited to read this. I've heard really good things about Freida McFadden. I've heard really good things about this book. I've saw a lot of people give this book 5 stars. It's had a hell of a lot of ratings and a hell of a lot of reviews. That is the 5 books that I'm going to read for the month of April, guys. Thank you for watching this video and seeing what I'm going to read for this month. I hope you enjoyed this little dive into what I'm going to read and a little bit about their stories. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to end this one here. If you did like this video, then please do smash the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you liked what you saw. And I'll catch you guys in this live stream or video. Peace out, guys. For tonight, wherever in the world you are.